When passion's lost and all the trust is gone,
Way too far for way too long. Children crying, cast out and neglected. Only in a world so cold. Only in a world this cold. Hold the hand of your best friend. Look into their eyes, then watch them drift away. Some might say we've done the wrong things for way too long. Fever inside the storm. Keep your thorns. Best placement. Is that in the movie Ghost Ship? Karen. Oh, you shopping cart degenerate. I was left alone in a world so cold.
guilty of the same things provoked by the cause. I've left alone in a world so cold. Fever inside the storm.
Away from the game. Fucking get guys. So get ready, this is the best part. What does everyone feel like? My enemy don't want any part of depression or darkness. I've had enough. Sick and tired. Bring the sun, or I'm gone. Or I'm gone, not backing up. Oh, no, God, no, motherfucker. Ready one. Don't give a shit. I can't scream as loud as I need to. I have to get louder for neighbors. I gotta really scream. I need to find a darkened corner where it's safer and calmer. The crew is loading the first gold. Away from the gangs, away from the circumstances of a world so cold. All right, guys. Since I haven't been able to cover it all week long, for one night, one day, and one day only, you're going to get the most entertaining child. I don't know what I was about to say. Tyler Robinson trial coverage ever, okay? God, I can't believe I weighed 230 pounds. What is happening? I'm getting stronger. I'm getting stronger. That's what it is. That's my excuse. I'm getting stronger. Muscle weighs more than fat. I've been keeping up every day, but I haven't been able to cover any of it because it's like I don't want to get started and then I have to go to bed. But what are we talking about now? I want to see the escape. Let's skim through this a bit.
This sanction as it relates to September 1st. It is not before the court. There has not been a request for electronic media coverage, and the court won't issue a ruling. When it becomes, that request has been filed and all the deadlines which the court has imposed in regards to the MC filing are in place, if motions are filed, the court will entertain motions in brief argument ahead of the September 1st hearing and address it at that time. This is the ruling of the court.
Is that the adjournment? Is it over? Is that the very end? Did he just adjourn? The trial is coming in.
Thank you. Turning to the defense, if you wish, you may call your next witness.
Judge, we would like the benefit of the record before we start taking evidence today.
Yes, Mr. Grenander, and I'll allow all parties given the ruling of the court.
So, little recap. So far this week, I've seen absolutely nothing new except for the Lance Twiggs interview, witness interview. It's not technically, it's not a testimony. I don't think it counts as a testimony. But I saw Tyler Robinson's witness interview, which was on yesterday. Or not witness, but, well, I think he's, you know, all the conspiracy theorists and stuff, all the stupid theories about Egyptian planes and stuff, that's all retarded. But you know what? I do believe I want to see all the Discord information. I want to see what groups he was in. I want to see who was talking to him. I want all their names exposed, all of that, because I bet you there's some 764 Antifa action. They're in some weird Discord groups. I want to know all the Discord groups they're in, and I want to know everybody's names of all the Discord groups they're in. Rico all of them. Because Lance Twiggs is not some innocent dude. Oh my God, that's what I want to pull up. The Lance Twiggs thing. The letter was not new. Nothing new from the letter. The text messages, nothing new. The screwdriver, the bullets, the video footage, the footage of him walking with the gun in his pants and with the stiff leg, none of that's new. People are like, wow, we got a lot of great information today. We didn't get anything new today, which I didn't expect. It's not like there's gonna be some things that the prosecutor is gonna hold close to their chest. They're not gonna release everything to the public right away, but they release a lot to the public, and that's all they've shown. Pretty much what they release to the public is what they would show you at pretrial just to get the court going through, because it's the main stuff. But at trial, they will come out with more. But I've been trying to tell people what will happen is if you go through the whole pretrial process and you dump all your hardest evidence on them at pretrial, a lot of times your defense is just going to say, hey, they got us on this, we're dead to rights. You take it to trial, you waste the taxpayers' time, takes forever. You waste the jury's time, you waste the judge's time. They're going to give you the harshest sentence possible. But now that pretrial's over, we know they got us dead to rights. Let's do a plea bargain. Let's see if they'll take a plea to get the death penalty off the thing. But the thing is, the prosecutor has no incentive for a plea bargain. The reason prosecutions do plea bargains sometimes is because they're hoping that they'll do a plea bargain because they are not sure that in trial that they're going to have them dead to rights. In this case, if the prosecution knows we got him for sure, and then the defense offers a plea bargain, says, hey, he'll say guilty. He just doesn't want the death penalty if he says guilty. The prosecutor could be like, the victim family is very important people, and he was a very important person, and they want the death penalty. So, and we've got you. There's no chance we're losing this case. So we're not going to accept your plea offer. We're going to trial. We want to take you to trial and take you down because a win is better than a plea out. So basically Tyler's screwed, but I'm going to be pissed. Tyler gets convicted. He's guilty. He gets the death penalty and he gets a public execution by firing squad. I won't be the least bit surprised because that's what I was saying was going to happen since the day they caught him. I said, he's going to be executed by firing squad. That's how we roll in Utah. And then Kirk demanded it. Maybe it won't be public, but it will be executed by firing squad. I'll bet my last bottom dollar on it. No plea happens. If he makes a plea, they don't accept it. They say no. Everybody wants the death penalty. You're getting the death penalty, buddy. He's getting the death penalty. I don't know if it'll be aired publicly. I believe it was Erica Kirk that said she was requesting that. She wanted that. And Charlie Kirk said something like that once. So he was pro death penalty. Spoiler alert, guys. It's not unchristian to be for the death penalty. But I think so. Tyler gets guilty, gets the death penalty. Color me shocked. I'm not surprised at all. What I'm gonna be pissed about is they execute Tyler and then this all ends, and we never find out who else is in these Discord groups. And this fucking Lance Twiggs guy, you are crazy if you think he had no knowledge of this, nothing to do with this. He knew Tyler was engraving bullets. He said, why are you engraving? He gave him the Dremel to engrave the bullets. So what are you engraving bullets for? I'm going deer hunting this weekend and I want to engrave my bullet. Nobody engraves bullets for deer hunting. Nobody writes catch this fascist on a deer bullet. Ain't no deer fascist. You know, if your boy is a crazy guy and he asks you for a Dremel because he wants to engrave bullets, listen, guys, I am very educated on shootings and school shootings. If you ever watch my Monday night show, you might notice a theme. We don't cover a lot of happy news, but one thing I cover every one of for the last 4 years is every shooting. Every shooting, we talk about it. School shootings, neighborhood shootings, mass shootings, and freaking, I cover all that stuff. And I listen to lots of documentaries about school shooters and mass shooters and stuff. And a lot of them lately have these 764 connections. They have these weird Discord group connections. Some of them have direct ties to 764. I've talked about them on the channel before. Yes, blue, you get where I'm going with this. There's no way Lance Twiggs didn't know what was going down. They didn't communicate about it. These Discord groups, what were they talking about? I don't know. This kid's not. And another thing is, I want to hear Tyler talk. I've still never heard the kid really talk. I've heard him say a few words, but I want to hear him talk extended. I want to hear his interrogation video. Because I don't think he's that smart. I think he's kind of retarded. And I don't think he came up with all of this on his own and did it secretly and then left a note under his boyfriend's keyboard. And then he took a picture of the note, but then the note disappeared. Like, there is something weird about that. And I know right now Andrew is on a tear of shutting down the conspiracies. Convenient. He goes to TPUSA. He's known to Alex Stein is with TPUSA. Alex Stein knows Andrew. Alex Stein knows Andrew's one of the best debaters. They have Andrew and Rob come teach the debaters. And then I don't know if this is like a thing being commissioned by TPUSA. Andrew kind of hinted at. He said, I'm the official Charlie Kirk conspiracy destroyer. Well, that's cool and all for the business, but don't be so anti-skeptical. I know being too skeptical is dangerous. Candace Owens is fucking crazy. She's retarded. But there is a healthy degree of skepticism that we can have, that we're not going to be told everything about this. And some people aren't going to be held accountable who need to be held accountable. I want to know what Discord groups he was in. And I want to know what those groups are talking about. And then I want the feds watching those groups. We got the Patriot Act. We might as well do something with it. Do something positive with it. Why are these Antifa people organizing in signal chats and going out and following around ICE agents? Why are they able to do that? Why can they mobilize so rapidly and take shots at Trump? Kill Charlie Kirk? We need to be tracking all these discords around, find the 764s, shut them down, find the assassins, the Antifa, all those Discord groups, shut them down. Do something good with the Patriot Act for once. There's in no way in my mind that Lance Twiggs did not know and did not help conspire to set all that up. And Robinson is the patsy. He's the patsy for the people who convinced his dumbass to go pull the trigger. There were masterminds behind this. And they were probably dumb Antifa 764 radical, nihilistic, extremist, terrorist, young retard kids. This guy thought deleting text would cover his trail. So not too bright. None of them are very bright, but I don't think Tyler came up with this and executed it all on his own. I think that he was the trigger man, but I think the planning and all of that goes deeper. That's so stupid. I lent him my Dremel so he could engrave some bullets because he was going deer hunting. What are you talking about? Nobody. Oh, I know what tangent I was going off on. The school shooter things. I watch a lot of school shooters, mass shooters. It's very common lately too. And this is a 764 thing. Well, actually, this stems from the Walmart shooter did it. The Nashville shooter did it. But who was the first to do it? It was either Dylan Roof or the Christchurch shooter. One of those two was the first ones to use white, the dry erase markers to write things all over their gun and engrave their bullets. And then copycats have done that over and over and over again. Their guns will have writing all over it, their bullets. And Tyler was the useful idiot. Yeah. But I don't think it's some big conspiracy between TPUSA and blah blah blah. But I do think there is a conspiracy between some grimy, weirdo kids on the internet, in some weird discords talking about some weird evil things. That's the conspiracy. And those people, if they get away with it, and Tyler's the only one held accountable, then that's a successful conspiracy, and it's always going to be a conspiracy theory because we're never going to know. I want to send Andrew a super chat and be like, hey, just so you know, Andrew, if you're going to be the unofficial Charlie Kirk conspiracy theorist shutdown guy, you've got about you've just made a commitment for the rest of your life, because people are going to be writing books about this 50 years from now, filled with conspiracy. There's going to be another conspiracy book every year about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is the new RFK or JFK. Not RFK. God forbid RFK. He's trying to get the red dyes. They might take him out.
Briefly.
And I'll be brief, Judge. And this is in relation to the continued taking of evidence today. And I'll start my statement, Judge, with something that was very insightful that you said the other day. You mentioned, and I quote, "Sometimes you need to take time to save time," close quote. And so that's my purpose for standing up here this morning. We have...
Was that like hurry up and wait? Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. That's what we used to say in jail. And when we would go to the amusement park. Hurry up and wait. You're like, hurry, hurry, hurry. We got to get to the place. And then you get there and then you stand in line. Hurry up and wait. It's like the guy that rushes to the red light.
Spent the better part of a day, a little over 5 hours, I believe, hearing from...
That's true, Auntie, you're right.
That the defense has called at this preliminary hearing. And no doubt the defense is entitled to call witnesses at a preliminary hearing as allowed by the rules. But I think it's important that the court remind all parties about the purpose of this hearing. This is a probable cause hearing, as Your Honor has repeatedly stated. The defense has invoked the term reliability many times. And the court, frankly, has found the evidence that's been admitted, the testimony. As a gatekeeper, the court has found it reliable. It's been presented. The exhibits have been found reliable. So any questions of additional reliability are really questions of credibility of the witness and weighing of the evidence. And that is not really what this court engages in at the probable cause standard. And so this is all couched in the context of a likely forthcoming standard objection that the state may lodge. If the testimony is long and drawn out and exceeds the scope of the preliminary hearing, gets into areas of a 702 hearing, possibly even trial, we will lodge this objection. But I wanted to just simply state the authority behind our objection if we do make that. As your court is well aware, the magistrate at this stage of the case must view the evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution. And that's
I'll never die.
Cases to include State v. Schmidt. Schmidt continues, "This means that when reasonable inferences from the evidence cut both for and against the state's case, the magistrate lacks the discretion to choose between them and must leave such a determination to the fact finder at trial." A few other cases I would like to refer the court to. State v. Pledger, which is a Utah 1995 Supreme Court case. Speaking of this standard, the court says, "The standard bars the magistrate from requiring the prosecution to address or even eliminate alternative inferences that could be drawn from the evidence in favor of the defense." So even assuming the defense scores points today in calling these witnesses, again, the court cannot really weigh those in favor of the defense. State v. Hester, which is a Utah Court of Appeals case 2000, where there is conflicting evidence, quote, "The magistrate may not sift or weigh the evidence, but must leave those tasks to the fact finder at trial." Of course, we're not at trial yet. State v. Virgin, a Utah 2006 Supreme Court case, indicates that a magistrate may only disregard evidence.
And so you might wonder why the defense fights so hard to keep certain pieces of evidence out, knowing that if it goes to trial, which it will, unless Tyler pleads out, it's going to go to trial. The judge is going to, this pretrial, everything will be satisfied. They will be going to trial. You might think, why is the defense fight so hard? And they keep saying it's going to come out eventually. It's because they want to keep Tyler alive. I think they know, he knows, everybody knows he's guilty, and the jury is going to find him guilty. The question is, can we dodge this death penalty? So some of the questions, some of the objections they were having 2 days ago during the trial, it was clearly they were trying to get out of the death penalty. There was a enhancer. There was an enhancement. It was called the targeted individual enhancement, which if the individual being targeted is for religious or political purposes, then it's an enhancement to the murder, which could secure a death penalty. So they're trying to not have evidence showing to prove the enhancers, because they want to convince the jury that a lot of the enhancements that they're putting, the enhancing factors, they don't want the jury to hear that evidence, because then they can, or when they hear that, they want to be able to object to that evidence and say, listen, we don't agree with this enhancement. You can't really prove that he wasn't just a crazy kid that just wanted to kill somebody popular, that it was because of his political. Now they will, and that's why the enhancement will stick, and he will get the death penalty. But the defense is doing the best they can. This is a high-profile case. I think they know they're on the losing end, but if they can at least keep this kid alive, they've succeeded at something. He did not do it. You're an idiot, Marilyn.
At a preliminary hearing, if it is, quote, so contradictory, inconsistent, or unbelievable that it is unreasonable to base belief of an element of the prosecution's claim on.
This is why no guy wants to be with you, Marilyn. Why would I want to ever be with a woman, a wife, a girlfriend, or anything that everything I say, they're just like, no, he didn't do it. No, the Bible's a Jew book. No, just argue. You're just supposed to nod your head and say, yes, sir. You're right, sir. What would you like to eat, sir? Does your laundry need folded, sir?
On that evidence. There's a State v. Drozbecki case, which is a Utah Court of Appeals case.
Give it that Becky.
Magistrates may only disregard or discredit evidence that is wholly lacking and
You are an
incapable
idiot.
of
No, you
creating
are an idiot.
a reasonable inference regarding a portion of the prosecution's claim, but must leave all the weighing of credible but conflicting evidence to the trier of fact. And finally, State v. Lopez, a Utah 2020 Supreme Court case.
Shut the fuck up, Marilyn.
At a preliminary hearing, the court said, under this low bar, it may be difficult for the defense to overcome a prima facie showing of probable cause.
BPD?
Even an alleged victim's recantations.
BPD, what is that, bipolar disorder? That's not a real thing, Auntie. That's just an excuse women make for being emotionally unstable.
May sometimes be insufficient, given that the magistrate must view all evidence in the light most favorable to the prosecution.
Bipolar disorder, neurodivergence, what's that one? I'm not neurotypical. What do they say now? That's all bullshit, just so you know.
And draw all reasonable inferences in favor of the prosecution, close quote. Judge, Your Honor has heard 4 days of testimony now.
He took it up. In two pieces. He climbed up in two pieces. He jumped down with it in one piece. He didn't put it together, shoot, take it apart, and then run, and then put it back together, and then stash it, Marilyn. Have you watched any of the trial? Anything? Do you know any? I mean, none of that's new from the trial. We knew all of this already. 8 months ago, we knew that he put the gun together when he got on the roof. That's why the screwdriver was left on the roof. He put the 2 screws in the bottom. I got videos of people doing it in 20 seconds. And he was up there for 30. He put it together. He lined up. He took the shot. He bragged about how the gun fired in his hand to the Lance dude. He said, "You still feel that caliber," or something like that. Or something. He said something about in Grandpa's gun. He didn't take it apart after removing it from his pants. He took it apart and put it back together. No. I hate Misfit Patriot, but he demonstrated this. He had the same gun. He said, "This is what it looks like if I'm carrying the gun put together down my pants and in my shirt and how I walk. And this is how, if I take it apart, I put it in how I walk." BPD is bipolar disorder, I think. I'm sorry. You're right. Borderline personality disorder. Same thing. It's not real. Yeah, you're right. Same thing. Whatever. It's all just made up words for people who are crazy. Sorry. You're not crazy, Auntie. Maybe you're a little crazy. You're probably a little crazy. If you believe that you have borderline personality disorder and that you're neurodivergent, if you believed into that mess, you are crazy. You were made crazy through your belief in the crazy. Therapy culture is whack. I agree. That's one of the things I talked about in the debate is not self-prescribing. There is self-prescribing too, but self-diagnosis. Why can't I talk right now? What the hell is wrong with me? Just watch the debate, okay? I was like, yes, what King said. But yeah, in that debate, I was talking about self-diagnosis and other people diagnosis. So all the time you'll hear people saying, "I think that guy has ADD. Oh, maybe you're depressed. I think you have OCD." Just that language when we talk like that is a sign of the therapy culture. We all diagnose people. You're a narcissist. That person's a narcissist. It's mainly women, but now you hear men do it too. We talk the same way. Oh, maybe you're struggling with depression. Maybe you're struggling with addiction. They're struggling. It's a struggle with depression. They lost their battle with depression. That guy's a narcissist. Oh, every ex-boyfriend of every chick is a narcissist. And I'm not saying you weren't diagnosed by an actual doctor with that, Marilyn. Well, a fake doctor, a fake psychologist or psychiatrist, but a real fake doctor. I'm not saying you weren't actually diagnosed with that by a real fake doctor, but a lot of people self-diagnose. and they've never been told they have autism or ADD or ADHD or OCD or, oh my God, oppositional defiance disorder. You're just a little odd. You have oppositional defiance disorder. Now people say that about themselves and they've never seen a therapist. And then they go see the therapist and they say, well, I think I have depression and ADD. And the doctor says, well, why? Why do you think you have that? Well, I'm sad all the time. I don't take showers. I don't leave the house. I can't get out of bed. I have thoughts of ending my life. Okay, well, why do you think you have ADD? Well, because I can't sit still and I'm always thinking about stuff and I can't stay focused on anything. But I thought you were in bed all the time. Couldn't think about anything. Like, it doesn't matter. The doctor will be like, all right, depression and ADD meds, even though that doesn't make any sense. I fought the diagnosis. It wasn't a diagnosis that you had to fight. It was a demon.
The evidence is overwhelming. It's devastating. And the question needs to be asked, the purpose of continuing with testimony if it's long and drawn out. Of course, the defense has the right to call witnesses, but it needs to be within the context of this preliminary.
But yeah, Marilyn, what King said. He walks in with the gun separate in two parts. You could tell by the way he's walking that he's got the barrel down his leg, but you don't see, if the gun was full, you'd see a big thing sticking out of his chest and he'd have to kind of walk like this. He does walk weird with his leg, but his upper body seems all right. You don't see the stock of the gun on his chest, and he's a thin kid. If he had the full gun assembled like that, up his body, down his pant leg, it would come up his chest to about here, and he's a thin kid, so you'd see a gun there. The shape of a gun. It would look odd. But he had it in two parts, so he had barrel down his leg and the other thing probably down his side or in his crotch or in his back, the small of his back. He could have the stock. Goes up the ladder. And also he needs to get up the ladder, he needs to be more mobile. So he needs to have it in two parts because he can move easier. If it's one long piece down his pant leg, you're not climbing a fucking ladder like that. He's not. Noodle arms. So he has it in two pieces. He goes up, he assembles it. Then he comes. Now, what I'm not sure about, I think he throws it down. Do you know that, King? I can't remember. I don't think he stuffs it back into down his pants and climbs down the ladder or climbs down the ladder and jumps. Does he throw the gun down and then he jumps down to the ground, wraps it in a towel? So he didn't climb up with it in two pieces, put it together, take it apart, jump down, go in the woods, and put it back together. What the hell are you even talking about, Marilyn?
Hearing. So again, we may be lodging a standing objection of relevance and exceeding
He jumps with it in his hand and he drops it as he lands. That makes sense.
the scope of this hearing. That's my record.
Thank you, Mr. Grunander. Do either party, other the parties wish to be heard as it relates to Mr. Grunander's statement? To the defense?
I'm not sure what was being requested by Mr. Grunland.
And it was so funny. They were like, they weren't letting us watch the zoomed in footage, and Andrew was covering it, and I was watching Andrew's coverage of it. And they're like, we're not going to get to see the zoomed in footage, so you can't really see what's going on over there. Mr. E, you're the producer. Watch how I zoom in on the judge's face right now. Look at that. I just zoomed in on the judge's face on YouTube. And there's other ways to do it too. That's just one of the ways.
As I indicated to the court during the testimony of the last witness, we had discussion with the state prior.
You could just hit control and scroll, but that doesn't work. I tried that already. But I think there's even a way within YouTube to do it. You can zoom in on YouTube. This is if you control scroll, but that's not as good as doing this. Look, I can zoom in right on the judge's face. So, anyway, it's annoying doing it this way. But all I'm doing is scaling up my capture frame.
We had a scheduled date for the court to rule on objections. And the purpose of that hearing was so that we wouldn't have to fly witnesses out from the East Coast if there was going to be a standing objection. Prior to that.
That's not true, Auntie. You can defeat those demons once and for all. Through Christ. The power of Christ compels you. Tell the demons, get behind me, Satan. I ain't got time for this. And make sure you forgive your mother and return to your father.
That hearing taking place, the state contacted us after they had participated in interviews of Miss Oliver and the other experts, and indicated to us, and we indicated to the court, that there was going to be no standing objection to the testimony of these witnesses. So if he's lodging a standing objection now, I think he's waived it, or he should be stopped from asserting it given the circumstances. I didn't hear that he was asserting that, and I intend to keep this next witness focused.
Dude, there's like a million conspiracies. Coco Shoku Papa Shanko.
On the issue that I think is relevant, which is the state presented DNA reports through a non-expert. They selectively read into the record a portion of those reports which left an extremely misleading impression of the significance of that evidence. So I have the author of the report here, and I'm going to hopefully educate the court on what the limitations are of the report, and that's it. I hope to be done with the witness by noon, direct and cross, and...
I am my father's daughter. That's a trivial truth. That doesn't mean anything. That's a platitude. Do you hold any resentment toward? I don't want to coach you through this, but yeah.
And that will be the end of it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burt. And before I have you call the witness, just want to make sure that the media had I'm not sure if the media needs to be heard on Mr. Grunander's response. No, Your Honor. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Burt, you may call your next witness.
Thank you. Call Miss Oliver.
I haven't seen this guy yet. Who's this lawyer? This is defense.
Ms. Oliver, if you'd like to come forward and be sworn in.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in the case now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help you God.
All right, ma'am, you may be seated.
I've been in so many dang
The water bottle
courtrooms.
to your left, if you wish. And after you're seated, if you wouldn't mind adjusting that microphone, bringing it close to you to pick up your testimony from today. Mr. Burt, your witness.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name, please?
Caitlin Oliver, Oliver.
And Miss Oliver, could you bring that mic a little bit closer so I want to make sure your voice is projected? Thank you. What do you do for a living?
I work for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives as a DNA section chief.
And how long have you held that position?
I've been a section chief since January, and I've worked with the ATF for about 9 years. Prior to that, I was a forensic biologist.
And where were you?
Forgiving things I would not do is not something I understand. It's a double negative, but what do you mean? those are the best things you've got to forgive. Those are the number one things you got to forgive is the things you wouldn't do. Not always, but what does that even mean?
Were you a forensic biologist before you started to work for the ATF?
Prior to the ATF, I worked for Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office in New Orleans, Louisiana, as a DNA analyst and a DNA quality manager.
Back in September of 2025, what were your duties and responsibilities?
I was a forensic biologist.
And do you recall that around September 11th, you received a request to do some DNA work at the request of the state of Utah?
Yes.
Could we display State's Exhibit 30, which is in evidence?
They found freaking Lance's nut all over the towel. Dude, Lance got to get locked up too, buddy. Oh, they're muting it. She's showing DNA evidence and they're not allowing it for the public. This is probably what they've been arguing about for the last hour was if we're going to show this to the public. The media was probably saying, yeah, we need to show it to the public. The judge decided I didn't see all that, but I'm assuming that's probably what they've been talking about for the last hour or two because now they're showing it and there's no video. Or there's no audio or video. So they're not. They said we don't get to see the audio or video. Now, hopefully at trial we will. But in pretrial they don't want. They want the jury. They want an as unbiased as possible jury. It's going to be hard to find a jury. Actually, maybe not. It won't be hard to find a jury of people who haven't watched this yet. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't care. I didn't say forgive random things. I said forgive your mother and your father. The root. The original, the origin. You don't got to walk around and forgive everybody for everything all the time. In the same way we're forgiven once, we don't have to be forgiven every single time we mess up. Forgiveness isn't like that. It's not, I'm sorry, I forgive you. 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 I don't tell people I forgive them because I love everyone. I love my enemy and my neighbor as myself. So that's why I don't really like apologizing either. But I do apologize because I drink beer and sometimes I say stupid stuff. But I don't need to constantly tell people I forgive them. You forgive your mother. Most kids, especially boys, don't really resent their father. They yearn for their father. That's the order of God. We yearn for the father. Our mother, the spirit of Eve, turns us against our father. So we think we resent our father, but really we resent our mother, and we've become like our mother. You've become like your mother, and you have some resentment for her, and that's what builds up the depression, the bipolar, the different personality disorder, all that other gobbledygook bullcrap. That's all spirits that come from resentment of our parents. You were born of the flesh. In order to be born of the spirit, you have to forgive. You have to honor your parents, honor your father and your mother. The only way to the Father is through the Son. And if you hate your earthly father, who is a son of God, then you can't love God. You can't know God. And I'm not saying you hate your dad, but this is just a general thing. This goes for everybody since they're quiet right now. And everybody will say,
For instance, the next sample down.
shout out JLP, by the way.
Where the
But if you're right, you're right. I don't care who says it. It's true. And it's in movies throughout history. There's always a journey home to reconnect with the parents. But anyway, these are the rules. Just do it and stop complaining. Exactly. Yeah. You forgive your mother first. And then once you forgive your mother, you may see that you never resented your father. You don't need to forgive him. You're done. You've forgiven. And you will be forgiven by your Father in heaven. I don't hide that I have issues with my mother. We have a horrible past. Yeah. You don't need to hide it. You didn't even need to say that. You never told me any of this. I don't know any of this. I'm just talking to everybody. This applies to everyone in the whole world. Ever. We are born of the spirit of Eve, of the flesh, of the woman. To honor our mother and our father, we have to not resent them. Some cases, I'm sure there's horrible, abusive fathers and stuff, and they have a justified resentment of their father while they're young. But once they're an adult, you have to forgive for that. Usually it's mama that we resent, and then we take on the feminine nature of mother. That's why there's so many men who act like bitches. It's because they resent their mamas. And that's why there's so many women with mental illness, is because they resent their mamas. That's where your demons lie. Nowhere else. And you can overcome all those other little ones, but that's the first one and the most important one. Your dad passed away. Yeah, so you probably love your dad. You probably yearn for your father. But I don't know. With girls, it could be the opposite with guys. Guys, no, I think both. No, I don't think. I think both sides yearn for the father. And they tend to resent their mother. But then what happens is they identify with the mother. So then they think they resent the father. but they actually just think like a woman. And so they hate men. But you got to forgive your mama. You got to look her in the face and do it. Not in your heart. Not over a text message. You've got to look her in the face, look her in the eye, and say, I know you did your best, Mom. You screwed up. You did a lot of messed up stuff. You messed me up. You did your best, though, and I forgive you for it. I don't resent you anymore. I love you. Now, we don't got to be friends no more. We don't got to talk no more. I'm going to go my way. You go your way. But I love you. And I'm not angry at you, and I forgive you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. See, I'm a therapist too.
Evidentiary support. We've had a prior witness testify that, from the FBI, testified that they use a scale and they characterize the support along the lines of strong.
It depends on if the father was a beta and the mama was an alpha. There's no such thing as an alpha mama. No alpha women. That's not a thing. That's not even real. She was a strong woman. This is way too long of a sentence. I know. You got to type your life story out for us?
Yeah, are you familiar with that type of a scale?
Yes.
Does your agency employ that scale?
We can come to 5 conclusions at our agency, so there can either be exclusion, limited support for exclusion, uninformative, limited support for inclusion, and support for inclusion.
And I take it from what you just said, you don't use these qualifiers strongly. The word strongly include things of that nature.
Yes, we don't use a verbal scale at our laboratory.
Is that a scientific phrase when you talk about instead of saying that there's support for an inclusion, you instead say there is strong support for the conclusion?
So our laboratory doesn't use a verbal scale due to the fact that they add subjective words to the front of this word support. It is our stance that the likelihood ratio statistic, the number stands on its own. So we report.
He's arguing that by using the word strongly support inclusion as evidence, the DNA results strongly support inclusion as evidence. The word strongly there is subjective and misleading, and he shouldn't have used that because that's not a scientific word. She's saying we don't care about the verbal words in front of it, whatever they said. The words that matter are based on a number scale, which are support inclusion. And I believe, because I missed what they were saying, they muted it, but they're talking about support for inclusion as DNA evidence. The DNA lab came back and this, somebody said, we think this evidence strongly supports, this evidence strongly supports inclusion in the case. Like it should be included in the case. And he's bickering about the word strongly being used to say that this should be thrown out because the word strongly is not a scientific word. Why did he say that? And she's saying the verbal scale doesn't matter. Whatever subjective adjectives that he adds to the beginning, qualifiers that he adds to the beginning of the expression supports inclusion don't really matter. The supports inclusion part is based on a number system, and that's all that matters.
The likelihood ratio and either support for inclusion or support for exclusion.
Thank you. Would you go to page 8 of the report and highlight the very top of the first 2 sentences? You included this language in your report, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, you included this language.
What's up,
in
Rowdy
3 of
Gowdy?
your reports, referring to the conclusions conform with the relevant Department of Justice policy on uniform language.
That's correct.
Right. And why do you include that language in all 3 of your reports?
It's standard language for our reports. Our reports adhere to the DOJ Ultra statement.
Okay. And could you go now to Exhibit Oliver 4 for the witness only? Not admitted yet. Are you familiar with this document, the Department of Justice Uniform Language for Testimony and Reports for Forensic Autosomal DNA Examination using probabilistic genotyping systems?
Yes, I am.
Right. And would you go to page 4 of that document, please? And the court has heard some prior testimony about this Department of Justice directive. What is ATF's, what is your understanding of what the qualifications and limitations are that are required by this policy of the Department of Justice? What are you not supposed to be saying in connection with the reports that you wrote in this case?
There's a few things that the Ultra document states. First, it states if you use a verbal scale, which we do not, then you need to use the one dictated in the document. This is in an effort to unify the language coming out of DOJ laboratories. It also says that we cannot state that our evidence is infallible, nor can we state that there is a inconclusive result.
Shall not state that it's infallible or have a 0 error rate, correct?
Correct.
It also states, does it not, that you shall not assert that the likelihood ratio of any magnitude provides an absolute identification.
So they can't say 0 or 100%. They have to make some guess. And then they put that on a number system, and then it equates to strongly excluded, which is bad evidence. That's a low score. And then not so strongly. And then inconclusive. But they said they can't do inconclusive. They said inconsequential or something like that is the middle level. And then included strong. Fuck, I forget the words.
Or source attribution of an individual to an evidentiary sample.
That's crazy.
And are your reports in conformity with that? You're not.
Lance is Tyler's MK Ultra handler from Jerusalem. No, dude, I think they're all MK. Well, it's not MK Ultra anymore. It's MK Super Ultra. They've optimized it. MK Ultra was just the beginning phase. We're like at Super Saiyan 4 Ultra MK now. We got Monarch Mind Control. We've got scrying on black mirrors with the cell phones. We've got the blue light frequencies from all the screens messing up our circadian rhythms. We've got the Monarch Mind Control and the subliminal messaging fed to us from everything. We've got scrollitis. We've got freaking. Did you know? Oh man, I can't say did you know and not know the stat. But it's something crazy, like the average person scrolls the height of like 3 Empire State Buildings every day, which I call bullshit on that. But maybe I'm not a big scroller. I don't do the TikToks. I scroll a lot on YouTube, but we all gonna have arthritis in this damn thumb right here, boy. Who was talking about how we went from writing. It's weird. We went from carving, pause, don't clip that, to writing, to typing with 10 fingers, typing, to speaking over long distances, the phone, to then typing with 2 fingers, our thumbs, rather than 10 fingers. And we're now typing with just our thumbs. When we wrote, we would use our whole hands. When we're carving, we're using our whole body and our mind. When we're writing, we're using 3 fingers, and it's very tactical and precise motions. There's a lot of agility. If you've ever seen somebody with good handwriting or who can draw well, it's like, and then you see somebody who draws and writes like an idiot. You're like, oh wow, there's a big difference there. This person has perfected what they're doing with their hand here, and this person has no control over their hand. Then you get to typing. Same thing with typing. You see the people that go click, 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 and then you see the people that are like with all their fingers. But then we go backwards, or then we move to talking. Typing still stays a thing. People are always so typing and speaking over phones. But then we get the text message. I think text message is one of the worst things that ever happened to humanity, because we started typing with our thumbs and not talking anymore. And then we isolate. We're oversaturated in urban areas, too densely populated. Like the rat utopia experiment, you start seeing gayness and cannibalism. Or well, the rats eat each other, but we just murder each other and do gay shit. And then we're typing on phones, and then we start using fingers on the screens. We're scrying on the black mirror. I don't know what I'm talking about, guys. I'm on a tangent. What are we even talking about? What am I? Oh, MK Ultra. That's what I'm talking about. So all this stuff has led to the retardation and the degentrification. That's not a word, but I just made it up. Degentrification of us. And so now the MK Ultra, they don't gotta feed us drugs anymore. We do the drugs. We eat the drugs. We take the drugs. Manja, manja, manja. We just willingly take the drugs. And we willingly engage in instead of a flashing screen with dolphin noises playing and stuff, we just scroll through TikTok. We just TikTok it up while we're typing with our thumbs and taking the drugs and eating the garbage. And we're all MK Ultra. Everybody MK Ultra. And if you're an atheist and a liberal and a college student, and you're you've been retarded your whole life, you grew up in this world where everyone's retarded. Like, I'm lucky. You know, some of us old heads, we're all old heads here. We're lucky. We got to see a world without all this crap, but they didn't. Tyler didn't. Tyler grew up in this crap. So it's a bunch of them. It's a whole web of sick, twisted, lefty, atheist, college-aged, and high school-aged freaking weirdo kids. And the next generation, hopefully they rebound. Hopefully we pendulum back. But this generation that's coming out of college right now is a problem. I don't know what they're called. The tail end of the millennials and the Zoomers. You'd rock some overalls. What are you talking about? And yes, I would. I have rocked overalls. Yeah. I'll crush a pair of overalls.
Stating or implying that anything you did here is asserting an absolute identification of someone as the source of any of the evidence that you examined, correct?
Correct. With forensic evidence, it's impossible to state with 100% certainty anything. That's why we report a likelihood ratio, to speak to that uncertainty with a statistic.
All right, and would you go to the next page of that document? This policy requires that you not state or use the expressions reasonable degree of scientific certainty, reasonable scientific certainty, or similar assertions of reasonable certainty.
J.S.
You didn't do
Homestead
that in any of your reports, correct?
Correct.
You're not asserting anything with respect to any reasonable degree of scientific certainty,
Correct.
correct? Now, when, you can take that down. When did you first receive the assignment in this case?
I would have to refer to my case record to know the exact date.
Do you have those in front of you?
I do not.
Okay, let me pull up Oliver 3 for the witness only. And go to the third page.
I was gonna watch.
Does that,
I was gonna watch Sneeko and Alex Jones, but I think we'll do that Saturday night. Actually, no, Saturday night is fights. By the way, Conor McGregor and Max Holloway, my favorite fighter, are fighting this Saturday. My favorite fighter versus a lot of other people's favorite fighter. A lot of people I found came into the sport of MMA and UFC because of Conor McGregor. A lot of friends I have, people I know, he's their top favorite fighter. I am I'm before that. Well, I remember the first UFC video game on PlayStation 1. That's when I got into UFC. That's the first time I heard of the UFC. And then I would watch it. I think it was on like TNT or something back then. It was crazy. But I really got into it in the Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, Rampage Jackson, early prime Anderson Silva, that time. That's when I was really into it. And then when Conor was when I was in a rough spot of my life, so I wasn't watching any TV. much less UFC fights. I was not watching nothing for years. When he was popping off. So I kind of missed the whole Connor phase. I did come in towards the end of it. I started getting back into the UFC. Yeah, on and off over the last 15 years, but I did see some of his fights. Max stands a chance. Connor stands a chance. Connor might get lucky and win. But then nobody's going to say, well, I guess it won't be luck if he knocks him out in the second round. I'm going to say it's luck. I think Max is the favorite by far. Every professional fighter, even Max at the press conference, was like, everybody's saying I'm going to win, man. See you Saturday night. What do you say? Tuesday. They all do that. The British, the Scots, they can't say TH sounds. Fight night. I don't remember what brought that up. Oh, I was gonna watch Alex Jones and Sneeko tonight or right now, but I decided I'm in Utah. We went pretty deep into all the Charlie Kirk stuff when it happened, and I've stayed updated on the case all this time, and but haven't got time to sit and watch the trial on stream with y'all. So, and we're not really doing it now, huh? I'm pausing a lot, huh?
That third page help refresh your memory on when you may have received this case?
Yes, on September 12th, 2025.
Okay. Is that when you first started doing work on the case, do you think?
Yes, it is.
Now, prior to doing work on the case, did you receive permission from someone to consume any samples in the case?
Yes, I did.
And could you go to page 15 of those case notes, please?
Consume
Again,
some
for the witness only.
samples. She ate them?
Do you recognize this email?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell me what the email is? And
Get food to eat?
what
No, I weigh
information provided to
230
you in
pounds.
connection
I'm
with
not
those
eating
information?
food anymore.
Yeah, so it's standard procedure at our laboratory that when we receive a case, we request permission to consume from the agent. We request that they reach out to an attorney if one is assigned. In this case, we will not begin any work on the case until we've received that permission to consume. So this email is us receiving permission to consume the samples and move forward with testing.
Now, does your lab have a policy for preserving samples for independent testing by the defense?
Where possible, we will not consume samples where it's possible.
And that policy is a longstanding one, not only in your lab, but pretty much everywhere in forensic DNA analysis, right?
That's correct.
I'm pretty sure what they're talking about is consuming DNA. Consuming samples means destroying the samples for the testing. So they basically break it down and they examine every piece of something, and then it's not usable after they test it. They've consumed it. It's not testable. And he's saying, is it a policy that you preserve some of your DNA samples for the defense to look at? And she said, when possible, we will, but sometimes we have to consume all of it. Maybe there's not a lot of it. And we're the lab. You're not the lab. You're going to go get an independent BLM lab. What you going to do? Antifa got a lab now? Shut the fuck up.
Goes back to 1996.
I know. I got to start
when
cutting.
National,
Bro, I got to start cutting. I've been trying to cut. It's got to be the beer. It's just beer. It's just beer weight. It's just beer weight. It's just beer weight. I got to start cutting. After DebateCon, we cutting. I should have been cutting for this damn wrestling match. I need to start cutting today. Fuck. I could sweat off 20 pounds of beer weight in 12 hours. But I don't need to. You know why? Because we wrestling. If I was boxing or if it was MMA or even jiu-jitsu, no, I would cut a little bit. Need to be quick. Need to be light. Well, we wrestling. I'm just gonna be too heavy. I'm just gonna get 240 pounds before debate con, and you're just not gonna be able to budge me. I'm just gonna sit on you. I'm gonna crush you. Avarice. Switch to light beer. All I drink is light beer. What you talking about?
NRC recommended a policy that samples be split wherever possible at the front end of the analysis to allow for independent examination.
Where possible, yes, that's correct.
Right, and they did that because it was their conclusion, was it not, that a wrongfully accused person's best insurance against the possibility of being falsely incriminated is the opportunity to have the testing repeated. Such an opportunity should be provided whenever feasible.
Correct.
Okay, could you now go back to Exhibit 30,
Cut more pizza.
page 8?
That's funny because I did just buy a pizza this morning for sometime throughout the weekend. I gotta cut DoorDash. I can't be ordering DoorDash either. That shit's expensive. I got 2 pizzas in the freezer. I got a Hawaiian and I got a thin crust meat lovers. You know, thin crust, that's cutting. That's cutting. Usually I get the thick crust, but I got the thin crust. That's cutting. Hopefully I don't burn it. Last time I got a thin crust meat lovers pizza, I burnt that bitch.
Were certain
230 is
DNA
not a good
samples
weight for a man of my height.
consumed in your
I'm 6 foot tall. 230 pounds is not a good weight. Not when 30 of it is in belly. Need to cut more cake.
analysis?
Yes, they were.
And for the record, are those listed on page 8 of your report?
Yes, they are.
Which samples were entirely consumed in your analysis?
That would be exhibits 1.4, 1.6, 1.9, 1.10, 1.12, 2.1, 3.1, 4.1, and 5.1.
It's not muscle. I could lose fat and beer weight and be 200, and then I would and still have all the muscle. Yeah, if I was like a fighter, I'd have to I'd have to walk around at like 200, cut to 180. Incorrect. That's overweight. What's overweight? 200? I don't care about whatever the stats say. If I'm 200, I'm happy with that. Without losing muscle mass. Problem is, well, never mind. Stick with the thin crust. I know we gotta keep it with the thin crust, my boy. But I don't think they have Hawaiian in thin crust at Walmart. I always get a Hawaiian pizza just to piss people off, and it's good. Exercise more, make it into content. This woman.
Okay, then are there a number of samples listed above there in the report where you say the DNA extracts will be retained? And then you list 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, 1.13, 7.1, and 8.1.
Correct.
Does that mean that those are all swab samples, correct?
They were swabs, yes.
All right, does your report mean that you consume the swabs, but you have some liquid extract remaining as to those samples?
Correct.
Now, are all of the samples, let's talk about the samples in exhibit.
Road to
in exhibit
180.
30. Were all of the samples you,
I haven't weighed under. No, that's not true. Never mind. No, I don't want to get 180. It's 200.
you looked at their mixed samples?
Could I to my
Replace your scooter with rollerblades?
Go to page 2, please.
No. I'm not a fruit booter.
And can we go to page 3 and 4?
3 and 4, please.
Yeah.
With the exception of the known samples from the known individual, that was a single source sample, but otherwise the evidence samples were all mixtures.
And in many cases, they were mixtures of sometimes 4 and 5 people, correct?
Correct.
Now,
What are they talking about? DNA?
when you look at mixtures, such as the ones in this case, you use terms like major and minor contributor, right?
Correct.
Is that language meant to convey that anything with respect to activity of anybody who might be assigned to that DNA weight? In other words, are you saying the person you label as a major contributor was engaged in
I think they're talking about the towel. I think they're talking about Lance Twig's nut on the towel.
any sort of activity? Is there any connection between the use of that language and activity?
And maybe that's why they silenced it. Both their nuts was on both their dang juices was on that damn towel. He wrapped his gun in his nut rag, him and his gay boyfriend. God, it's so gross. Yeah, 180 is like where I was at until I was 30. And once I hit 30, it was like 200 to 220. Actually, like 33. When I was a damn crackhead, I weighed 180. 180. I look too thin. I'm not strong enough. Now, if I had zero body fat, I could still be, but no. 200's good. 200's a good walking around weight. If there was like a fight and somebody weighed 180 and they wanted to fight me, then I would cut hard down 10 pounds and just focus on like endurance and explosiveness and cardio instead of bulking, instead of lifting heavy weights. Because I lift heavy weight. Lately, I've been trying to do less weight, more explosiveness with the squats and whatnot. But usually I'm doing sets. I'm doing like 4 or 5 sets of 4 to 6 reps, as much as I can do, until the 4th one I can't do anymore. And then I stop and then I do something different. Usually but the last couple months I've been doing different stuff. Trying to get more. I just hold weights and I just get down low in a wrestler stance with 5-pound weights on each hand. The circle ones, I hold them like this. And I just dance around low. It's tiring. It's tiring just to stand like this. And then when I run on the treadmill, I run like in boxer stance but I'm not boxing, but just try to hunch down low with your hands up in front of your face and move around on your feet in circles for 2 minutes. Just doing that's pretty tough. Beer curls don't count. Man. I'm curling 40s. I can curl 50 in one arm. But I don't. That's like my max. I usually do 40s or 45s. And I'll do like 3 like this, and then I'll twist it and do 3 hammer curls. So like 6 with 40 on each arm, 80. I see a lot of local curl action. Weights are weights. That's true.
None of the testing that I performed could speak to activity or what activity led to the deposition of the DNA.
So nothing in your report, if somebody reads that and says, oh, this one says this person is a major contributor, you're not commenting on anything about the person's activity, correct?
Correct.
No, we're not saying anything about the activity. We're just saying there was a lot of Lance Twig semen on the towel. He was a major contributor to the DNA that was found at the scene. Seems like Tyler didn't contribute as much DNA to the towel because he was probably the receiver. That's gross. Should do 25s and do twice as many reps. Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. I'm not trying to be cut. I'm not trying to be cut and look like a Brad Pitt model with chiseled. I'm trying to be strong as fuck. Why would I do less weight with more reps? I'm not trying to look like a model out here. This bitch ain't cut, but as big as fuck.
And is it true also that there are also several other limitations concerning the language of your report that it's important for courts and people?
I'll stop lifting more weight when I can bench press 3 plates and when I can curl. I would never curl more than 50. Once I can curl the 50s and do sets with 50s, then I'll probably go to less weight and more reps and then start cutting it up. But I should be able to curl a 50 on each arm pretty easily, at least for 8. I think I could do a 50 like 3 times if I'm fresh, warmed up. But I don't do that. I don't do my max. A 40, sometimes I do 35s and more reps with 35s. That's like when I'm doing reps, I'll do 35s. And then if I'm just trying to get big, I'll do 45s. And then in the middle is 40. But it used to be less. Duh. Duh. Thanks, Jazz. It used to be less. When I was like 3 years old, I could only bench press a Lincoln log. It used to be less. Everybody's you know what will give you that physique? Cutting down trees, digging fence post holes, hauling out loads of bodies, etc. Yeah, I know. That's cool. You just trying to find a husband, Auntie. I know what you're doing. Play your wily feminine games with me.
People who are reading the report to understand.
I'm sorry.
I like the city. Ideally, I'd have ideally I'd want a house on like the outskirts of the city where you could have like every place has a place like this where it's kind of on the outskirts where either you're by like a lake or you're by a forest or you're by the mountain, where it's like you might have an acre, maybe 2 acres, and behind it is just like the wilderness or something. And then the city's not that far. You're far enough on the outskirts where you don't have to deal with the crime and stuff, but you also have nature there, but you have the city there. I don't want to be out in fucking Montana or Kansas farming in the middle of buttfuck Egypt where there's like 300 people in the nearest 100 square miles and a gas station. I don't like that. You want to make me a meatloaf every night? Oh my God.
Sorry, what was the question?
Are there other limitations, in addition to the one we just reviewed, that it's important to understand about the language you use in your report?
In terms, is there something specific that you're?
Yeah, there is. Could you go to Baker Exhibit 30, page 1, for the witness only? Are you familiar with this publication?
Yes,
This is a publication by the National Institute of Standards and Technology called Forensic DNA Interpretation and Human Factors.
correct.
This is put together as a guidance document for practitioners on what, to simplify, essentially, what to say and what not to say.
I don't know that I would call it a guidance document. NIST is not a regulatory body for DNA testing. It was a report that looked into forensic DNA reporting and specific human factors that could affect our testing. So they may have had recommendations, but as far as them being a regulatory body that's issuing guidelines, I wouldn't state that.
Okay, that's fine. Could you go to 136, please?
He tried to set her up. She got it. She rebutted.
This is Baker 30. Keep going.
I'll be right back. I gotta
There we
pee.
go, right there. Wait, 135, I'm sorry.
Pee and one last cerveza.
And then scroll down to the next page. So they're making recommendations here as to how the report should be worded, correct?
Correct.
Let me ask you whether you agree with some of these limitations, or they call them caveats. They talk about how you describe the number of contributors, and they say the true number of contributors of DNA to an item can never be known. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. They also say, let me ask one question before I ask this one, which is, do you use something called a reporting cap in all three of your reports?
Yes, so for our likelihood ratio statistics, we cap the statistic at 1 trillion. The actual number could be a lot higher. It could be quintillion, octillion. We chose a trillion because it has meaning, I think, to people that can understand what a trillion is. An octillion and a quintillion gets a little high at that point, so we cap at 1 trillion.
And they talk here, do they not, about how you convey the idea of a reporting cap? And they say the LR reporting cap was chosen because of the limitation of biostatistical modeling and independence assumptions of STR loci. Do you agree that that's why the cap is chosen?
I believe we chose our cap for the reason I stated.
Do you disagree with that statement in terms of why the cap is chosen?
I'm not familiar with the paper that's referenced there, so I would have to familiarize myself before I said I agreed or disagreed.
Fair enough. And then they also suggest that you alert in your report that profile descriptors cannot be applied to activity level issues. Do you agree with that?
Yes, so this is what you were stating about calling a major contributor. It doesn't.
I thought I had another beer, but I don't. See, that's fine. That's cutting. Usually I have 3 on Friday morning. 3 tall boys on the Friday morning show. This Friday morning, I'm only having 2. One at the park and one here. So, see, that's good. But that means I'm going to go to bed soon. It's almost noon.
More.
Correct.
And as the number of people to a mixture increases, the difficulty in sorting out that mixture increases as well, correct?
Correct.
I noticed in your standard operating procedure, there's some guidance on interpreting 3-person mixtures.
Huh.
Familiar with that, right?
Yes.
And it says, and correct me if I'm wrong, approximately 70% of 4-person mixtures present as 2 or 3-person mixtures, based solely on number of alleles present.
It's possible for them to present, yes.
Well, it doesn't say it's possible. It says, for example, approximately, in all cases, assuming a mixture is a result of the combination of three people must be done with caution. For example, approximately 70% of four-person mixtures present as two or three-person mixtures based solely on number of alleles present.
You said you're referencing my SOP?
Yes,
Is it possible for me to take a look at it?
sure.
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point. The point that defense counsel is getting at is made in the last answer, which is that the difficulty of sorting out mixtures increases as the number of contributors increases. That's all understood, but that has nothing to do with probable cause determination. Even if it's difficult, the inferences and the evidence is weighed in favor of the state. The court cannot weigh the difficulty in determining this evidence. Is it fair for a trier of fact at a jury? Sure it is. But we're now getting into weight issues that are relevant for a jury, but not for this court.
Well, he's implying it's going to be an extended discussion. I have one question which he wants to look at her manual to make sure it's in there. So, and then I'm done.
All right, I'll allow this question, so I'll
Thank you.
overrule the objection. She may review the material and
So could you
the
bring
question
up
could be rephrased.
one, is it Oliver 148? This is your SOP document, correct?
Correct.
And then go to page 83.
Oh shit.
All they
This
had.
letter was blasted. Briefly displayed, and we thought, okay.
Audio on this surveillance on 12 point.
And again, with regard to all these samples, no way of knowing when or how the DNA got on those samples, correct?
Correct.
You referenced another statistic in your report, which is the statistic.
Dude, why are they not banning this person that is just repeatedly spamming Turning Point and the Jews killed Kirk? Spamming it over and over again. Why are they not just banning this person?
Related to paragraph E, I guess.
Correct.
Is it what's called the random match probability statistic? Or is that something else?
It itself is not a random match probability statistic. It is a way to represent the likelihood ratio similar to a random match probability.
But it's still a likelihood ratio computation, right?
Correct. It's based off the likelihood ratio
And
computation.
it's still subject to all the limitations we've talked about.
Correct.
Can't attribute it to any person, can't state it's infallible, can't state there's a zero error rate, and you can't state that it is a source connected with any one person, correct?
Right. So part of not being able to state source attribution is the reason we report the likelihood ratio statistic. It speaks to the weight of the evidence. And so yes, we can't do a source attribution, and we report that statistic and address that uncertainty that way.
And address the uncertainty along with the other limitations we talked about.
Correct.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. Anything further for this witness?
No.
All right. May this witness be excused. All right. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Anything further from defense?
No, we have no further witnesses.
All right. Returning to prosecution. any
It's so funny. They don't have any mods in Charlie Kirk's YouTube channel to ban spammers. So this one guy's just spamming Turning Point and the Jews killed Kirk. And then this person comes in, nice guy 1434. Candace cultists are in full coat mode. Candace is working with Act Blue. Andrew Wilson posted proof. So they have other bots to go in there and spam Andrew Wilson advertisements. And then there's another person, the government killed Charlie. The government killed Charlie. The government killed Charlie. Handgun snipers now in hand. What?
Further.
No, Judge, we have no rebuttal evidence to present at this hearing. The state has no rebuttal evidence to present at this hearing. However, before we break, there is the matter that was discussed yesterday with respect to publishing in the courtroom Exhibit 12.1 so that the victim's family can observe that.
Thank you. All right, do the parties wish to be heard as it relates to this briefly, and then the court will issue its ruling. And
Your Honor, I actually just want to make a quick record. We have advised Mr. Robinson of his right to testify at this hearing, and he is choosing to take our advice and not testify.
Yeah.
is that correct, Mr. Robinson? And I note that he's nodding in the affirmative. Thank you, Ms. Visser. All right.
See, you never hear his voice. And it's weird. There's one where he walks into the like the interrogation room and confesses, and you never see his face. And the conspiracy theorists, which I have a conspiracy brain. I think about this stuff. You never see his face. His face is always away from the camera.
In regards to the outstanding issue about the publication of State's Exhibit 12.1 to the courtroom only, to persons here, any further input from any of the parties before the court issues its ruling?
Jeff and I, on behalf of the victim, my understanding is you ruled yesterday that you were going to play it, that you did grant our request. So I don't know if we...
Thank you.
The bullet, the casing that they found, or bullet, was another
Judge, I might simply add, given the court's ruling this morning with respect to
weird thing that
explained exhibits, we may want to make a record.
they found another bullet near the scene. Now this is Utah. It's not surprising to find a bullet on the ground, but they found another bullet. I wasn't sure if it was a casing because at one point I know that Andrew and Ryan were watching it, and one of them said casing, but then they were like, "Oh no, I said casing, my bad." But they said casing because the guy had said casing, and I forget who it was, but he said casing. But it was a whole bullet that a cop had cleared his gun, and there was a bullet on the ground. But the guy did say casing at one point. There was another casing there, and that it likely came from an officer clearing his gun. That was weird. That's something the conspiracy theories are going to get hung up on if they're smart. That's a good point to attack right there. Horses United. I don't know what you're saying because that's not English. Was it front certain hards? What does that mean? Snipers need bullets, a pistol to save sniper bullet. Yes, snipers also carry a pistol. Yeah. I don't know what the point is.
With the live streaming folks here that it's not going to be published.
Thank you. All right. Nothing further from any of the parties?
I know what a casing is.
Okay. Just updating some notes.
So when they say casing, they mean a whole bullet, right? Not a spent casing.
All right. The court wishes to readdress yesterday's ruling in light of this morning's sanction as it relates to Exhibit 16. The court separately addressed that incident and imposed a sanction on the record. Having considered all applicable public access, fair trial, privacy, and victims' rights interests, the court adheres to its prior ruling. The court finds that temporarily limiting live stream to audio only while Exhibit 12.1 is displayed is necessary to prevent the inadvertent publication of the exhibit from being transmitted to outside the courtroom, and no broader and is taking the least restrictive means to accomplish what is being requested. Accordingly, Exhibit 12.1 may be viewed by all persons physically present in the courtroom, including victim representative Ms. Kirk in her capacity as the victim representative. The same in-court viewing rules applies to all parties and courtroom attendees. And that is the ruling of the court. Let's go ahead and proceed to that, to the stage. So could the camera operator let me know when we're switched to an audio only? We are? Okay. All right. And as it's switched.
Audio only means just move the camera over a little bit and don't show the TV.
To audio only to the state. Now, my understanding there's no audio on this surveillance on 12.1. Is that correct?
Oh my God. So we get audio only, but there's no audio.
All right. So let's go ahead and play that. And I'm going to rule that this also applies to the still photographer. It cannot be captured the screen in any way. I noted video recording, but I intend as well as no still capture of any of the monitors during the publication of 12.1. All right.
What is it showing?
And to the stage, just let me know if you're ready. Let's go ahead and play it now.
All right. What you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, is that John Madden style compilation video of where Tyler Robinson was traced on campus, and the court ruled that that was not going to be broadcast for public. Then Jeffrey Nyman, who is the family representative for the Kirk family, asked that the family be able to see that. So the judge ruled that they could.
John Madden style compilation video. So it goes from place to place to place, and each time it's going to draw a circle and an arrow, and he's going right here, and here's the circle, and we're going to go up this way and through the center, and now he's going to walk up this path. You'll see him going right here.
He's now chosen for that to happen now. So Erica, Kathy, Rob, the Kirk family collectively are now able to watch that compilation video with enhancements, zoom-ins, kind of red circles that draw your eye to it. That's how I've been told it had that video described. So they are doing that now. By the way, good job, Jeffrey Nyman. He's been excellent in representing the family's wishes and pushing for speed, pushing for transparency. So a lot of progress there. Thanks to Mr. Nyman. Okay, this whole thing was so boring this morning.
Yes.
And I feel like
This is our punishment for yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was very substantive. Today was not. I want to bring up something as we're seeing that.
All right. So slow day. Smash the likes, bros. I'll show you the Lance Twigs, because I've watched this kind of while I was getting ready for work, and then I've listened to it once, but I haven't like sat and examined it. Where is it? Yeah, this is not a testimony. This is an interview. KSL has edited this video to help create a clear timeline of the court hearing for viewers. The video has graphic descriptions of violence and the use of explicit language. Viewer discretion is advised. This is KSL. This is the news in Salt Lake.
Going to be some objections about this that we'll have to address, but I just want to lay a little bit of foundation
very
first
loud.
before we get there. Are you, you've mentioned him already. Are you familiar with an individual named Lance Twiggs?
Yes, I am.
And who is he in regards to this investigation?
He's the roommate of Tyler Robinson.
Was he interviewed as part of this investigation?
He was.
How many times?
2 times.
When was the first time?
The first time was the early morning hours of September 12th, and that occurred at St. George Police Department.
So we've heard of several people coming in and being spoken.
And I don't think we have video of that. The video that comes out is actually just like April, 2 months ago. The video that we see.
Spoken with at Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Correct.
Mr. Twiggs was spoken with at St. George PD.
Correct.
Do you know who was present for that interview?
It was FBI agents Larson and Agent Ling.
Are you aware of Mr. Twiggs' buccal swab was taken at that time?
I don't recall happening there. I believe it happened later. I'd have to, but it did occur. That was obtained from him.
Okay. But you're not sure if it happened on the 12th?
I don't recall if it was there or later at his residence, but
ultimately, a buccal swab was obtained from Mr. Twiggs?
yes, it was.
A Class A misdemeanor, is that fair?
That's correct.
Was a similar admonition given to Mr. Twiggs? Mr. Twiggs, was he told that taken?
Yes, he was.
The edits that the court has ordered, we have shown them to defense. Pursuant to the timestamps that the court ordered, we wanted those to be reflected very clearly. So there are sometimes large gaps of just black, empty, silent space. We'll just this time.
Your benefit right direction as well as for the gallery.
Here instead of your testimony at a preliminary hearing.
Look at this weirdo.
Understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so in order to
Sure, he went to all the No Kings marches. Actually, probably not, because he's been in witness protection.
do that, I need to place you under oath and also give you an admonition about false statements. Okay. First, you do solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes.
Shit. I gotta go to bed. Hold on. I'm not going to watch all this because I've already seen it. I just kind of want to see on the big screen what he looks like because I couldn't really watch it.
I also need to notify you that you are notified that statements you are about to make may be presented to a magistrate or a judge in lieu of your sworn testimony.
He talks and he looks like freaking Goon before Goon cut his hair.
At a preliminary examination. Any false statement you make
Wait till you hear his voice.
Believed to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. You understand that?
Yes.
It potentially could be used as for punishment as a higher offense as obstruction of justice. In addition, I just want to make sure that our recording here is clear that you've also been given a federal agreement and a state agreement granting you immunity from prosecution for materials that you discuss now. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First, we're going to cover some of the things that you've already talked about, but to make it as part of this record. First, what's your name?
Full name with middle name or just first and last?
First and last is fine.
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs.
And do you know Tyler
Doesn't he sound like Goon?
Robinson?
Yes, I do. Well, yeah, I do.
And this is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
And would you say when you first met Tyler?
I think it was 2023. I've known him longer than that, though. That was, I think, the first time I met him in person.
Okay. And will you describe your relationship with Tyler when you first met him anyway?
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate, so I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it when we first, when he first moved in.
Okay.
I just want to get to the part where he talks about.
My mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on?
I want to get. He repeats everything here.
Okay.
Electrician, I'm not sure how the trade system works for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was both.
What was his typical workday like?
I want to get to where he talks about the
I think he'd
Dremel.
leave around 7 generally and get back around 3 to 4, depending on like where the job was and how long it was for the day. And then on certain days of the week during school, like semesters, he would then later in the day, I think around 5 or 6, go to school. So yeah.
Okay. Let's jump to September 10th. Did he spend the night in the apartment the night of September 9th into September 10th?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time. I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
Okay, so early. Any guess as to what when that was?
I don't know. I would have thought
I'm making my pizza now because I didn't eat.
it was 5 a.m. because that's when like an early work day was for him, but it was probably more like 4.
Okay.
I'm just this guy just to make sure that
I can do that.
you're right in front of your laptop.
Oh, here you go.
Thank you.
I want to get to where he talks about the freaking Dremel.
All right, so what time did you get up on September 10th? Did you hear from Tyler? Did he call or text you before then?
No, he sent that message in the group chat I mentioned, but he didn't message me directly at all that day.
Okay. When did you first hear from him on September 10th?
It was at 11 o'clock with that like automated message.
Okay, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
So I think they're showing.
Now, he asks you here, remember how I was engraving bullets?
Here we go. This is the part about engraving bullets. Now, I think the reason that it's black is maybe he's showing the Discord, or they don't want to show Discord names or something. I don't know.
Engraving bullets before this?
Or he's showing him pictures of the bullets.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when, but he had said he was planning to go hunting with his family. And he asked me for if we had a Dremel because he said he wanted to engrave messages on bullets. And I just told him where our Dremel was, and I told him to make sure he doesn't set off a bullet on accident in the house. But I didn't really.
I'm going to hunt hey, do we have a Dremel? I'm going to hunt animals. I want to engrave messages onto the bullets. I'm going hunting with my family. I want to engrave some messages on the bullets. Do you have a Dremel? Yeah, I got a Dremel. It's under the pile of dirty nut towels. What?
Really think about it until then.
How long before September 10th was this that he asked about the Dremel?
I don't remember because he'd been talking about the hunting/camping trip for a couple months, but I don't remember when he was specifically asking to engrave the bullets. So
are we talking like a year before?
Oh no, not that long.
A month
it
before.
Would have been, I'd say at most a month before.
A month before. A look into the online subcultures tied to Charlie Kirk's killer. Oh, this is talking about the messages on the bullets. Damn it. See, I'm trying to pull up a list of killers who engraved their bullets, and all it talks about is Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk, Tyler Kirk, Charlie. I'm talking about all of them. There's a lot more. God, man. List of killers besides Tyler Robinson. That's not going to make it better. Nope, that doesn't help. I'll have to compile a list.
For this was when he was asking.
Okay.
So that's the thing about the Dremel. He's going to shoot with his family a month before, and he says, "Do we have a Dremel?" "Yeah, what for?" "I want to engrave some bullets. I'm going hunting with my family. I want to engrave some bullets before I go." "Oh, you mean like all those mass shooters do in our Discord groups that we're always talking about? All those crazy Antifa killers and serial killers and shooters lately. A lot of them have been writing messages on their bullets and on their guns. Something like that." No, it's for deer." Oh, okay. Yeah, we got a Dremel right under there. Right over there." Come on. That's suspicious as fuck. And that kid's on some drugs too. He ain't never seen the sunlight. Message can be 1 month fresh. Nut towels. Yeah. I don't know. I think this Lance guy is just as guilty. Anyway, guys, I'm going to head out. We did a fun drone stream. We did this stream for a little while. It's 12:30. I got to get to bed. We got VK tonight. And then we'll hang out after VK. I'll try to get up on there early, but you know, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. Either way, I'll be streaming here, and then trying to go to bed early tonight. Because tomorrow is UFC 329. Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. Paddy Pimblett versus shit. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. French guy. Not Duplessis, he's South African. Dubuisset. Something sounds like that. Anyway, Paddy to Batty. King Green's fighting. Gilbert Burns is fighting. A lot of good fights. Some wrestler who is making his debut on the main card of a Conor McGregor UFC pay-per-view. His debut, which means he's got to be fantastic. I think he's a heavyweight. And so Chubb was saying, if you're just decent at heavyweight, you can be in the top 10 with those guys or something. I don't know what he was saying. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, y'all. God bless. I think he's saying if you're a heavyweight, it's not the hardest to get onto a main pay-per-view event or something because there's not a whole lot of great heavyweights. Dricus du Plessis is South African. That's what I said. I'm not talking about Dricus du Plessis. I'm talking about the French guy that Paddy Pimblett is fighting tonight. The guy, I can't remember his name, but he's not South African. He's French. He's from France. Dubuisset. What the heck is? It's not Dricus du Plessis. He fights the week after, I think, on a fight night. It's not a pay-per-view. He fights Kamaru Usman the week after. But I'm talking about the guy Paddy's fighting. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, y'all. I gotta go. God bless everybody. Anywhere we can raid. Fallen State it is. God bless, guys. Have a good one. We out. Peace.